Hi everyone, it's the Assyrian Priestess with you. I hope this finds you well. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I may or may not create an entire series on the subject. But I really wanted to talk about tarot as a reflective tool versus a predictive one. So how I'm going to do this is a little bit different. I'm going to be shuffling the cards just for fun, but really we're going to have a little chat. So I'm going to begin by saying that I've been reading tarot since I was about 15 or 16 years old. A friend of mine that I went to school with, her mother was a tarot reader and gave us our first tarot deck at about age 17, I would say. And this was in the, gosh, what year was it? It was sort of like the mid to late 90s. So I've been reading tarot for probably about 30 years, and have learnt a lot along the way. And I'm going to use this to show that tarot is actually a reflective tool. It is a storytelling tool. And I'm going to share some personal reflections with you. So this is not a reading. This is a conversation. So grab a cup of tea and let me know what you think in the comments. So I understand that a lot of people turn to tarot when they have a burning question that they think, or it seems as if they cannot answer using their current tools at hand. So they turn to tarot. I've also been reading tarot for others and myself for that time. And usually the top three things people are interested in are money and security issues, relationship issues, whether it's with family, children, siblings, romantic or significant other type readings. And the third one is often health and well-being, and maybe they're struggling with something on that level. Very rarely will I get a life purpose reading, but there are a few enlightened souls out there who have come to me for, life purpose and sort of crossroads types of readings. And I hope to be able to give you all of those. Now, all of these are very natural human conditions. Like all of the questions we have about, will this new job work out for me? Or, is this new person I met going to be a long-term commitment or not? These are very natural questions to ask. They are part of the natural order of the human condition. So no one is doing anything wrong, quote unquote, if they're asking for answers. Where this can become problematic is when your anxiety or your rumination or your stress or worry about the question becomes so all-encompassing that you cannot relax into the decisions you're making in your life. And that's where tarot becomes a problem. Now, I have been thinking about reading tarot online forever, but I've been avoiding it because I just didn't want to be associated with a lot of the tarot readers out there, I'm sorry to say. But recently, in the cataclysmic changes that have been happening on planet Earth, I want to be a tarot reader online, especially because I have over 30 years of experience. And I don't want people getting tarot readings to leave with anxiety or stress. I want them and need you to get really clever and really grounded and really smart about your decisions. You need to leave a tarot reading feeling confident, feeling safe, and feeling empowered. When you don't, the tool has failed you. So why do I call it a tool? The tarot is actually a picture book of the psychological journey of the human being known as the Fool. And I like that the tarot calls the Fool because we all have to agree and, take a step back in our humility and realize we actually don't know everything, right? And we're on a journey. We're going to meet a bunch of characters along the way, and we're going to learn some lessons and hopefully make some good decisions. Now, what do human beings really want? Like I said, we want good health and good health outcomes for ourselves and our community. We want security, stability, meaningful work, and we want beautiful, connected relationships. They are the primary drives of the person. Stability, community, belonging, and also, feeling good, feeling healthy. And so any tool that helps you along that way is useful. Any tool that feels like it's taking your power from you, it's taking your agency from you, is problematic. And I completely respect a lot of people who warn their children and warn their partners not to get tarot readings. Often because the reader could be from the point of view that it is a predictive tool, that there is a magical spirit or an otherworldly entity that is giving you a message from the other world to do something. Now, for me, all of these things are metaphors, right? But they are not grounded in biological reality, especially when we are in a global mental health crisis. We are in a global economic downturn. We are in a global state of affairs that could be called a literal catastrophe. And so when we turn to inexperienced tarot readers or tarot readers who understand the reading as a predictive message, then a lot of people lose their power and they think, well, this will certainly happen. I'm doomed. And you leave the reading feeling anxious, feeling unsupported, and feeling, sometimes making hash, or hash is not the right word. I was going to say hasty or rash, and I put those two words together. Making hasty and rash decisions. So tarot is a reflective tool. I want to start creating more content around how it can be used as a reflective tool, how every element you will meet in the tarot is really a reflection of your inner workings, or it is maybe guidance or advice to do something more or less. Now, years ago, I heard an experienced reader and a woman I had a lot of respect for say, a reading is not a reading. The reading is your reaction to the reading. That's how you know you've got a message come through. So if a reading tells you a story, or a reader tells you a story that really makes sense and really helps you process something, then that's your reading. If it doesn't, it's not your reading. So that's one of my first warnings of online readings, is you've got to have the discernment and the wisdom to pull away and not listen to it and not think, oh, well, that reading came out for my star sign or for my elemental sign or for the collective on this date. And so now I've got to really worry because the reader said there might be a relationship breakdown. And so now you're going to start looking for signs in your relationship of where it's failing. And of course, you're going to focus on that thing. And maybe grow it out of proportion. This is for me, a real warning. You've got to use your intellect, and you've also got to understand tarot as a fun, entertaining way of understanding your journey as a foolish person who needs support. Giving our power away, very dangerous, because you have all that you need within you and at your disposal to make good decisions. And here we had a bunch of cards fall out. So I like the tarot because it represents different elements of the human psyche that help me reflect on my next moves, how they could be perceived, and also what they're going to give me or not give me. It helps me be able to create a story about what I'm going through, one where I write the ending and not one that feels like life is happening to me or at me. So I use it as a tool of empowerment. Yes, I do readings when I'm anxious about something, and they always reflect the exact thing you are fearful of. So I don't know if that has been your experience, but there are a lot of psychologists and very intelligent people online now actually warning against reading when you are anxious, because it's going to show exactly what you're afraid of mirrored back to you. So tarot will reflect back to you. It will show you elements of yourself that you must confront and face. Now, if you're anxious, if you're grasping for answers, it's not a good time to get a tarot reading. It's a good time to actually get grounded, get safe, get nurtured. And, you know, one of the things I teach in my Patreon community with the descent process, which is very different from reading tarot, but in the Patreon community, one thing that I offer was looking at ancient Assyrian mythologies as actually reflective processes, right? So looking at the descent of Ishtar to the underworld as a reflective practice, embodied reflective practice, you know, which is not for everybody, but it is, you know, a tool from sort of psychology meets art meets, I don't know what all the disciplines are, maybe even new materialism, but to source your courage. So what are the things that help you clear your mind and feel at ease? This is what you need to do when you're anxious. You need to possibly exercise, have a warm bath, have a warm drink, have a chat to a friend. Like, you've got to regulate your nervous system and not go to a tarot reading looking for it to do that for you, because you might not get what you asked for. In fact, I would say be careful what you wish for, because it might reflect all of your worst fears back to you. When you look at tarot as a reflective tool, it can help us really awaken. It can help us really face things that maybe we've been avoiding, or, you know, avoiding confronting. About ourselves. So another weird thing that I've seen online tarot readers do is anytime a so-called negative card comes out, they suddenly flip the script and say, oh, this is someone else. So if you get the devil card, that devil card's not you. That's a devil that you're going to face. Now, in a personal reading, that might be true, but nothing online is a personal reading, right? It is always the projection of the reader onto the cards. So a reader who never sees the devil as your own self, as your own lustful desires, as your own need for revenge, your own need for power over, your own need for asserting something, then they're on the wrong track. And I've noticed this, that anytime a darker card or a more difficult card comes out, it's always someone else. Someone else is lying, cheating, stealing, not you. Now, on an even deeper level, and this is where things are going to get interesting, is sometimes the tarot dark cards are things that you actually might need to do. You might need to make a deal with a devil, for example, to survive. So a lot of work contract readings, I'll be honest, could have the devil, which is like a high salary job, high power job. You know what you're getting yourself into, so don't complain when the job becomes too hard or too demanding. You're making a deal with, quote unquote, the devil. Now, is the devil a actual little fiery being that runs around trying to trick you? No, it isn't. But the egregore is, and I'm not going to explain what the egregore is now, but I will in future videos. So I think for now, let's leave it here. I don't want to make this too long. But yeah, really, if you're going to take one thing away from this reading is please use tarot as a reflective tool about what you are personally going through and how you might make that process more honest with yourself. So anyway, As always, I will leave you with my love and courage. Please don't forget to like this video or comment. It means a lot. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.